Hey, this is Matt from InvestiQuant. Today is Monday, September 28th, 2020. And this morning we saw the markets gap up sizably, well above the prior session's high. And we have since kind of held higher prices and are exploring a little bit higher. It's been a fairly quiet range relative to what we've seen recently. Our range is a little bit light and it's more consolidation-like action that's just drifting higher here. But what I want to do this afternoon is expand on the study from this morning where we saw a recent phenomenon on Mondays where the markets have gone higher on days where they've gapped up. And I want to just take that same concept and then add more price action context around what has happened since the open to see if that bias that we saw from the open to close is still there in the afternoon session by the time we add a little bit more context around what is actually taking place on that Monday. So let me do this in Discover. We're going to come in here and select all four instruments. The setup is going to be an intraday time-based entry, and we'll use an entry at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be set up as a long, so it'll enter at 3:15, exit at the close of regular trading hours, which is 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So this is a 60-minute holding period. For the opening filters, I'm going to go ahead and say that we gapped above the prior day high. And then I'm going to go into the post-open filter section. And I'm going to say that the gap is not filled. So that just means that we have not traded back to Friday's closing price. And then I'm going to say we're also trading in the top half of the range as well. So that kind of summarizes the price action that's taken place. Lastly, I want to come into the calendar section and say that today is Monday. Hit equals next to Monday, and then click View Results. And here we go. So these are the results of going long at 3:15 p.m. Eastern Time, exiting at the close 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time when you gap up above the prior day high on a Monday, and then after the open, you do not retrace to the prior day closing price, and at 3:15, you are trading in the top half of the intraday range. Historically, that's happened 73 times in the S&P, 74 in the NASDAQ, 74 in the Dow, and 53 in the Russell. And the win rates on these, not impressive. But if you remember from this morning, what was more noticeable about the stats and the equity curves was the spiking that was taking place in the last 18 months or so. And you can kind of see here in the NASDAQ, it has spiked here a little bit recently, but I'm not seeing the same trend that we saw from the open this morning with gapping up on Mondays. So let's go ahead and take a look down below. It was really somewhere a little bit beyond the last year where the stats were so strong off the open. If we look at this one in the past year, we've only got 8 samples, nothing really noticeable here. It's just it's been a little bit weak there. The NASDAQ, 9 samples, 78% win rate on those 9 samples. The Dow in the past year, 10 samples, 40% win rate. And the Russell, only 6 samples, 33% win rate, so not really seeing a whole lot there to get excited about. And if we look back a little bit longer term, just looking at the equity curve, you can see that it really hasn't done much. So the price action that we're seeing develop today has not really translated into a push into the close higher. It's kind of been pretty messy. There's not really a strong edge in either direction. Let me take a quick look at this S&P results distribution. All right, so here's the results distribution, and this looks pretty symmetrical to me. You can see the one standard deviation highlighted in the blue here, which is right around 0. And you see a large grouping of small losses, small wins here. Not much on the outliers. In fact, on the downside, there's no real outliers taking place down here. On the upside, it looks like it's got 1. But this has been pretty fairly distributed historically right around the average trade, which is pretty break even here. So not really seeing a whole lot of a bias historically with this one as we approach the close. So hopefully you found that helpful. Good luck the rest of the day, and we'll see you tomorrow.